again, like if somebody asks a question, I'm going to tell them the answer to it. And then if it gets like too detailed where I notice, okay, you should be able to figure that out by yourself by just sitting down for a couple of like maybe an hour maximum and just trying it out. Then after that, like I gave you the directions you need. And after that, when you come back, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for that. And most of the time people were like, you were right. Like I figured it out now. Like, and I'm 100% sure that sticks into their minds much longer than if I just would have told them.
What is up, Not Network? Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 11 of the Not Network podcast. Boy, I am so excited for today's guest, hailing all the way from Italy. Yes, that's right. The Italian Stallions are back on the Not Network, so please help me welcome the Dizzy Viper. So here on the Not Network podcast, we love artists, people who create things, Jimmy. And today we have a guest who is truly an artist. Cranking out everydays for nearly 4 years, he creates apocalyptic landscapes, neon skylines, and some hyper-fast cars. Our guest today is none other than the magnificent Fabian Oberhammer, aka the Dizzy Viper. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a great intro. I appreciate that.
By the way, please tell me if I messed up your name. Is it Fabian? How do you say your first and last?
It's a German name, so like you pretty much nailed it. Anyways, like it's pretty good. Yeah, good like there is no right way to say it in English because it's a German name.
Nice. Wait,
you're so understanding.
Is totally fine. Yeah.
So you're living in Italy, but you have a German name. Do you have a German kind of background?
Yeah, so that's a little like the confusing part about where I live. I live in a part in Italy that used to be Austria before World War One. So about like 75% of the people here speak German as their mother language.
Oh, really?
Wow. Interesting.
So that's also why I have a German name.
I had no idea. My landscaping or geography knowledge is so...
I know, right?
I completely forgot about that.
Sometimes across the pond, we forget that Europe kind of got messed up from those wars.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, that's pretty crazy.
Don't worry, like most of Europeans don't even know that. So
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. That's awesome.
It is awesome. Yeah, well, anyway, thank you for joining us. So audience, he is in Italy. He is 7 hours ahead of us, so we had to do a little collective compromise here and to be able to meet together. So you are actually our second guest coming to us from Italy, so that's pretty neat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you have dentures on?
No, it's a girl named Martina Primazzi. She does photo manipulations. Oh, cool. Yeah, she's really great.
We like having Italians on here.
Yeah, we love the Italians. I'm half Italian myself.
I'm half Italian too. So
we make a full 2 Italians on this podcast now.
Combining things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to listen to your podcast with Patrick. That was super interesting as well.
Yeah. So Patrick, do you know of Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed he follows you on Instagram. And by the way, you have, what is it, almost 60K followers on Insta now?
Congrats.
Yeah, I think like 59 something. Yeah.
Where did most of your growth kind of start? Because I know for some people it kind of happens like in a year or in a month, or you just get a huge growth spurt. So when did that happen for you?
So that was like the fastest and biggest growth was probably like, what was it? Like April 2019.
Okay.
Somewhere there when I started to do these like broken down supercars.
Yeah,
like,
I remember those.
Like that was where my most growth came from. Like I had days where I got like 1,500 followers in one day.
Oh wow!
And like before I did those cars, I already was a little over 10,000.
Okay.
But getting there took much longer than like from 10,000 to 20, for example.
Okay. And then now from 20 to 60, it's been a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years.
A little over a year, yeah.
Wow.
And a little over 2 years.
Okay.
It wasn't 2019 when I was. And another thing that also got me a lot of followers was the drift tutorial that I did on YouTube.
Yeah.
For like drift renders.
Yeah, look through all your YouTube too as well.
Yeah, like right after I uploaded that tutorial, like my whole Instagram tagged section blew up with those renders.
Oh wow.
Like all kinds of
Nice.
people doing these styles of renders. That was pretty cool.
That must feel really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a
And also the
go ahead.
and also the Area 51 raid image I did with Frainer Design.
Yeah.
That one, we made the big mistake of not watermarking it. So we didn't get credit a lot for it. But if, for example, it was used as a Pewdiepie thumbnail
Oh wow.
No way.
without credit.
Oh.
And then on Reddit, like the image itself had like almost 100 million reach on Reddit.
Wow.
That's
Holy
insane.
crap.
That one also got us a lot of attention, but way less than it could have been.
Yeah, so I guess how would that like feel? I mean, I guess that feels pretty cool to have so many people appreciating your art, but they don't even know that it's your art. How does that like make you feel?
Yeah, so I don't blame anyone, honestly, because I mean, it's the internet, and
Right.
once an image blows up without credit, it's almost impossible for anyone to track the creator down. And it's, I don't think, not even, like I said, for example, I don't blame PewDiePie for not crediting us because there was no way of him finding us anyways. Like it would take him hours and hours to find us. And I get that that's not what usually somebody does.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are always people who either think it's not important to credit or they just don't care. I think credit is always appreciated and necessary, in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, if somebody doesn't credit and then that guy blows up and one guy sees that and doesn't see any credit, I mean, that's not that guy's fault then. So I totally understand that. But it still feels awesome because it's still like an image that we created.
Yeah.
And seeing that it has potential to reach that many people is still an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the fact that it reached someone of that level. I mean, he probably, or one of his editors probably just saw it on Reddit randomly.
Exactly.
And I mean, I know the Area 51 raid was like a pretty big deal at one point. And so that was definitely a pretty popular time to be making those types of things. That's for sure. Yeah.
I love the little chain reactions in life that can happen. That's so wild. I would have never guessed, like, PewDiePie would have a thumbnail of, your art.
Right.
Oh, I didn't even know it either because I gotta be honest, I don't watch much PewDiePie at all. Like I used to watch him like back in 2012 a lot, but now not anymore. And like one morning my whole DMs blew up and saying like, yo dude, check out PewDiePie's new video. And I checked it up. Like when you press the link, you see the video. I was like, what's up with the video? And when I went to the channel, I saw it in the thumbnail. Like,
wow, that's pretty surreal. Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to delve into a little bit of your like origin story. Speaking of PewDiePie, because I scrolled all the way back on your personal Twitter, and I saw, or no, your Instagram. Your first post on Instagram was like, this like GTA 5 Let's Play or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you please talk about that? Because you were editing videos of like you playing with your friends, and then let's start with that.
So I started doing YouTube videos back in, I don't know, it was 2013 when GTA came out, basically. And I just started doing funny moment videos, and they were horrendously bad in the beginning, and then the editing got more advanced. At some point, like editing small sound effects into it to a point where I had like 500 sound effects in one video.
Oh my gosh!
And that's where I met Frainer Design actually, because he's a YouTuber. He's still one, but he grew on YouTube back in the day with GTA 5. He did like these funny skits that I looked up to him in the beginning. And I found out that he lives 10 minutes away from me.
No way.
Oh.
And over here, internet is something that like, we live in a stone age when it comes to that part over here. So finding someone of that size on YouTube who lives here was an incredible feeling, because at that point he had like 350,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
And so I messaged him and was like, hey dude, do you wanna play sometime and like record stuff? And he was super nice, started playing with me, and we did that for about 5 years.
Wow.
And then I never blew up or anything, but that wasn't even the point of doing it. It was just fun.
Yeah, I mean,
doing it.
Yeah, like you were still getting solid, like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 views on some of shake your finger at.
Yeah, right.
That's how friends are made too.
Exactly. Dude,
Exactly. Yeah. Then after a while, GTA 5 got boring after like 3,500 hours.
Just a measly 3,500.
I can imagine those shark cards, man. They get you.
And then I started playing Rocket League, which was the next game I got super hooked on.
I play a lot of Rocket League.
I started playing a lot early on, like 2015, 2016. And I don't know. There was a point where it clicked in my head and I just started playing the whole day, like 10 hours, 11 hours every day. And that's when ESL reached out to me to play for them.
Oh my gosh.
And I played for ESL for a few months until I opted out because it was too much. So like we had to play 9-10 hours every day, no matter if we wanted to or not.
Oh my goodness!
Like just
a contract
to win tournaments essentially.
So you were like good.
Yeah, I was at some points I was at 1750 MMR. I don't know if that says something for you, but it's like the best I was 89 in the world.
Oh,
don't be bashful. Like, he's really freaking good.
Yeah, dude.
Got the skills.
Gosh. Yeah, that's crazy. I did not know that.
89 was the peak, but that was for like a couple of days and then I fell back down. Like I usually were hanging around in the 300s, 200s.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, if I saw my name on any list, I would freak out. So you're being very humble right now. That's pretty crazy. Because a lot of people play Rocket League.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah.
So you were coming off. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I was just saying, and then I played a little less, and then got back into it with friends just for fun. And now I'm pretty much like I don't play Rocket League much anymore.
Okay.
But it was a good time, and that was pretty much my origins for general computer stuff, like YouTube videos, Rocket League, and then through that 3D basically.
Wow.
Where was the introduction to that? Where was the connection from like Rocket League to, I guess, Cinema 4D? Because I would have never like see those as similar.
It wasn't really Rocket League that got me into 3D, honestly. It was more little bit of GTA because of like the animations that you could do with certain mods and stuff. Mm-hmm. But mainly what got me into 3D was music production. Because that was actually the first creative thing I ever did. Like it was back in 2010, started doing music with Fruity Loops and stuff for a few years. And after, I don't know, 6 years, I released my first album, like nothing big, maybe 100 views on YouTube, you know. But I was looking for visualizers for that album, you know, like just something that reacts to the music like every YouTube video has. And that's when I found out about Beeple, because he does stage visuals for free. You could have like these whole visuals for free. So I used them, and that kind of got me thinking, you know, how do you actually do that stuff? And started downloading his project files and looking into them. And that's how basically the 3D stuff started.
Wow, that's so wild, because now he follows you.
Yeah.
What's that feeling like?
Honestly, like the follow on Instagram isn't even the craziest thing. It was more, I was trying to get him to follow me for a long time, obviously, but
that's awesome.
But it was at some point when earlier, like a half a year before he started following me on Instagram, that he sent me a friend request on Facebook.
Whoa.
That was the crazy part,
personal.
I think.
Dude,
yeah, because I was commenting, like he was just making a post on his page about like, I think it was for his 10-year anniversary or something. Yeah. So I was like thanking him in the comments, like, yeah, dude, I found my passion through you, like, and I'm making almost a living off of it. I'm loving it every single day. Thank you so much, like, for putting all that resources out. And like 20 minutes later, I got the friend request.
Oh my goodness, what a freaking legend!
Seriously,
Dizzy out here, he throwing out the vibes. He's being grateful, and then people's like, you know what? I see you, King.
Honestly,
yeah, that was probably one of the best moments ever.
Yeah.
And he's super humble and extremely nice overall. Anyways, like it's not something that, like, he's not unreachable because he's not giving a fuck. It's more. Oh, sorry, I'm about to.
Oh yeah,
to
no,
swear.
you're good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Like it's not because he's not giving a fuck, but at that size, it's just hard to reach someone. Like I also know with my 60K followers, keeping up with the DMs is also not always easy, but I try to. And I don't want to know what it's like with 1.7 million followers.
Yeah. You really do a swell job, because you do have a very active community. And so as a person who does slide in the DMs of popular cool creators, I can just say I appreciate that, Mr. Fabian. So.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like that's honestly, that's also one of my favorite parts of that whole thing. Like, it's not clients or anything. It's really the community and stuff. Because I think, as far as I understood, you both are both gamers as well.
Yeah.
And I think you know what the gaming community is like, right?
Yeah.
And it's not comparable to the 3D community, because if you ask something in a gaming Reddit, you get shit on.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the 3D community overall is just super helpful.
Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit. With like Patrick, you said you listened to that one with Patrick 4D. He was talking about the film culture and the film community, and comparing that to this 3D community. It's just like they're completely different hemispheres. Yeah, you know, like totally. I don't know what it is about this community and why people are so nice and helpful and humble, but I don't know. It just comes down to like culture, I guess. Just the culture of the community. Yeah. And it's not the culture of everyone, because like you said, you're in Italy, Patrick's in Atlanta, we're in Texas. People are all over the world. But we just have this like common goal of just like helping each other and talking to each other.
Exactly, yeah.
And the wild thing is that what I've been learning more recently is that it hasn't always been like this. I don't know when you first joined, but I go into, do you know mograph.com?
Yeah, I know the website, but I'm like rarely on there.
Yes.
Like I don't keep up with much of those, but they do a great job. Yeah. Like I met David through those guys.
Oh, nice.
David Ariev.
Oh, okay. Octane, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Cool.
So I was listening to their podcast and stuff like that, and throughout the time, and also School of Motion. And it seems like, I guess, throughout the time of 20 years of where the internet, fully blossomed, is that it was kind of hard to get in this industry, and that there was a lot of assholes out there that didn't like to share information. And what you saw is that the assholes slowly faded away, because big surprise, nobody likes to work or talk to an asshole.
Yeah.
So it just,
as they should.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I mean, everybody has their secrets. I think I have my secret workflows that I don't like to share a lot. But in general, like those are like really small details. Like it's not something I would say, yo, I don't want to show you how to use an area ladder or something. That's not like that. It's more, it really like, certain settings, very specific settings that made
that you cultivated yourself.
It used to be, for example, it used to be my tire shader for a long time. I didn't want to share my tire shader for a long time, because I was super proud of it, and that's kind of what made out my renders. But at some point I just figured, like honestly, like, well, why should I not share that stuff? I want to see what people do with that.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I noticed on your page. Was I noticed you released some packs of like the puddle reflections and some landscapes, and then I saw the tire shader as well. And it's just like those things stick out when you're scrolling through all of these thousands and thousands of artworks, because it's like, whoa, this guy is like actually helping the community other than just contributing to it. And so that attracts people more to your art, in my opinion.
Legend.
Yeah,
totally.
That's the thing. Like you said, they stick out when you scroll through, and that's why I had a hard time sharing them in the beginning. Yeah. Because I thought, that's what makes those images stand out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought, back in the day when I started, I would have sold my left leg for something like that.
Yeah. That's
and so I thought, there are so many resources out there. So instead of, doing the same thing other people do and, making basic Cinema 4D tutorials, for example, which there are more than sand on the sea, I just figured, let me share the stuff that you can't find somewhere else, and that everybody like admires on my renders, so they can make good renders too. That's what my goal was. Like,
it's like, I know when I come through a roadblock, it's really hard to try and find and learn information when I don't understand a certain kind of topic, whether that's modeling or materials, or like, figuring out how to work Octane and the nodes and trying to use workarounds. If I find like somebody has created an asset, and that helps me get one step closer to, the final goal. Like, You know, I support them fully and full-heartedly, and that's the really beautiful thing, is because when people hit those roadblocks, like roadblocks are hard, especially if you're self-taught. It's hard to get past that. So when I love that people set up little nuggets for others to grab on and latch on so that they can use and further. Because if we're being honest, you can't learn everything in a short amount of time.
No,
you can't learn all the
like,
modeling, lighting materials.
Yeah, I'd also say, like, even if there was a tutorial for every single detail in 3D, I still think making good renders comes down to at least 50% own experience.
Yeah.
Because and that's also something that I try to make more, like tutorial videos, but not showing how to do that one specific thing, but more how I came up with it.
Yes.
So people can use
Smart.
that knowledge, or like that way of coming up with things to create their, like, to solve their own problems.
Yeah.
And,
because that's what makes, I think that's what makes out a certain style, for example.
I like that you're building the foundation for people, so they're not looking on YouTube for tutorials for, like, super cool things, so that they make a reel and what a surprise when somebody looks at it, it's just tutorials.
Yeah.
So you're creating the foundation of the creative mind. What, I guess, pushed you to do that instead of giving out people, like, oh, here's this really cool, I don't know, this strategy and this one tip kind of avenue? What created, the need for the foundation?
That's a good question, actually. I guess it was also from own experience, just not finding certain answers. So, like, for me, the main issue was not knowing what to look for like, I wasn't able to put a name to a certain problem, so I couldn't look for it. So I had a problem, I didn't know what it was called, so I couldn't look it up on the internet.
Wow.
And that's where I started to, sit down in my chair and, like, work on the node editor for like 2 days, just trying to think of what the problem could be. In that case, it was actually the puddles that I didn't know what to look for, because my mother language is not German, is not English. So back when I made the puddles, I didn't know that those were called puddles. I didn't know what they were called.
Oh,
that's so important. Wow, the language barrier.
Yeah, it was a language barrier, because puddles is a word that, I don't use often in real life.
Right.
It's more something I use in 3D now. And so, I had a lot of issues finding how to do it. And then I thought, if there was a way to control this thing with noise, for example, like to say, okay, this part, black is wet and white is dry, for example. And when I had that thought, I was like, wait a minute, but that's exactly what that node editor is for. So I tried to, put what I had in mind and see if it works the way that I thought it would. And it kind of did. I mean, there was still a lot of tweaking and stuff, but generally it's the way that it worked out. And I thought, because I see a lot of renders of cars, for example, and they look good, but the road just doesn't look good in the rain. It's just one wet plane, for example. So I thought, I've seen a lot of people struggle with that too. So I thought, let me Google what these things are called, puddles in that case, and share that knowledge and show people how to do it. And I guess some people, of course, would watch it. I didn't think it would be 30,000, but I thought it maybe a couple of hundred. So like,
you're helping out 30,000 people. And that's crazy that you bring up the language barrier, because the past week I've been reminiscing over what was the biggest struggles that I've had on learning 3D, and it was the language, because people talk differently about the little details. We call like scratches and I guess fingerprints, we call them imperfections, and then in 3D they're called like roughness maps. And that's the wild link that you need to connect. I guess we need to have like a dictionary, like a 3D dictionary, linking things so we understand them.
Something.
And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So something pretentious about myself that I'm working on. When I've tried to do a lot of Photoshop over the past couple of years, just like editing my own photos and editing just things in general. And I always thought that it was like a sign of weakness to like look up a tutorial on how to do something. I was like, I just need to like move through the menus and just figure it out, because that's what would make me a good artist. But it's not, because something that we've learned over this podcast is that no one else cares about the process except for other artists. People only care about the final product. So if they scroll by and it's like, whoa, that looks cool, they'll double tap like, and then they'll move on. And so it's like learning that tutorials are such a prevalent part of this community as well has really opened my eyes and made it a lot easier for me. How important are they to you? And I mean, obviously they are, because you make them yourself, but how important were they to you, like in the beginning?
Like the workflows, you mean, of other people?
Yeah, just watching tutorials on YouTube, whatever, how to look something up or how to do something.
I'd say they were important, but not a lot to me, because I didn't watch a lot of tutorials, or rather like I watched a lot of tutorials, but all like these small 1 minute tutorials that showed one function where I got stuck, for example. Right. But all the general stuff from Cinema 4D, for example, interface and everything, it was all just learning by trying, just trying stuff out and see what it does. Also, the problem that I had with tutorials in the beginning was that, you know, I noticed that they showed how to do it, and I just copied it, like step by step copied what they did, but I didn't understand what I did. Yeah. Like I just knew I did what they did, but I couldn't do it on my own. Gotcha. And that was kind of frustrating in the beginning. That was also a thing with the people every day, because I was going for his style for a very long time because I was looking up to him. And I think it's a good thing to get inspired by, or even copies every now and then an image to, you know, have a reference to copy from, basically. Yeah. But what that did, same with the tutorials, it kind of gave me a barrier, like it almost was a fence around me where I couldn't get out anymore, because I was completely in that Beeple style and YouTube tutorial, and I noticed that I didn't do a lot on my own on there. Like it was pretty much bad Beeple copies, all created by tutorials, and that wasn't what I wanted to do.
You weren't proud of that?
I was a little, but at the same time I was, you know, I have stuff in my head that I really want to get out, and I don't know how. Yeah, like that was the main thing.
It's the artist dilemma.
Yeah, there's a I think if we're looking at like the whole maybe plateau or the chronology. Thank you. Chronology. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love words. So the chronology of like the artist and them learning, it's like you have the tutorial phase, I feel like, where it's like, you know, you're excited to just do it. You know, you're excited to make cool things. And then there's the gap you face when you're nearing the end of being like, I have these ideas, but I've done these things in the past. I don't know really what they apply to. And then I feel like that's where the learning kind of really starts. And that's why I think I'm so stoked that you try to really put an intention into your tutorials, because that's where you get it from. And also Patrick does that a lot too. He'll say, you know, I'm putting this plane and I'm putting an emissive material on it, acting as an area light, and I'm going to put it off to the left a little bit. I'm going to put it to this size so that Octane is an unbiased render engine, and so this is how it interprets information, and that's why it's going to look really crispy, good, nice, cool. And I just went off.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's important to explain why you did something, other than just like, so do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this, and now you have this. So that's what you're talking about, is like, I did not learn anything. I can't do this on my own now. I just copied you, and now I made something, but I didn't enjoy it. It doesn't mean anything to me.
And I think often you don't remember how to, like when you come back the next day, you probably have to watch it again.
Yeah.
And that's the, like, I still think tutorials are a great way, like, don't get me wrong on that. It's just once you know how to do it, I think it's a good way to, you know, push yourself to understand what the tutorial says. and understand what you're doing and why this stuff happens. For example, if you put a displacement on a tire, why does it displace that tire that way? And how do you what does that fader do? What does that slider do? And that, I think that's what it comes down to, because then when you have a problem, you remember, okay, that slider did that and that slider did that. So maybe I have to, arrange these sliders in that way to solve my problem. And that's the own thinking that you do in that way.
Absolutely.
So you're implementing a little bit of a scientific method in this art space, and something that people don't often think about is how much work goes into doing something like this every single day and learning something new, creating something new. There's a lot more facets of art than just like feeling. There's a lot of hard skills and thinking that kind of goes into some of this. So I appreciate you.
Exactly. And I'm totally down to, show everybody the skill wise, the skill part of it. But like you said, the feeling part and the own thinking and problem solving that has to be done in this branch, sort of like there is no way around it at some point, that I can't really teach.
No.
And it's also, you're messing with, and I think this is the main gap of information that people who aren't into like computer arts really realize, is that it's not just, the computer is, punching out code, and it's kind of doing the manpower of rendering and doing all the calculations that, we could never. But what people don't understand is that we are also trying to figure out, we're also doing math. We have to learn a program who uses things like, cloners and fields and what have you. And we're using that to create like an artistic expression. So we have to have that creative space, and we also have to have that like math and technical side to kind of manipulate it to our will. And people think it's just an easy click button. No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of nodes. There's a lot of learning material.
Yeah, exactly. I fully agree with that. 100%. Yeah. And I also think something that like if I would say something to my younger self right now, I would probably say, that, because that's what I see on Instagram a lot, is especially by people with less followers, like who's just starting out. I see a lot that they limit themselves looking at what others do. Like they say they can't do it better, so I can't either. Or like this has never been done, so it can't be done. And so something like that. And that's also something that I have had to fight with for a long time.
Yeah.
Because of my affection to Beeple art. That's I was like, he does it so good, it can't be done better. I'm not saying I can't do it better, but I know that it can be done better. Like,
where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
Or even in its own style. Like, I'm not saying better in skill wise. I'm also saying better art wise, and yeah.
So where did that kind of switch flip? Because looking through a lot of your catalog, there was a lot of Beeple type things, like big object, little people type of stuff, which is awesome, and it's always going to be awesome. But where did that flip? Where did that change kind of happen? Where you're just like, this isn't this isn't me.
Yeah, I think I don't know exactly when it was, honestly, but it was. I at some point I just Instagram, like when you follow a lot of people, you don't always see every people's posts,
right?
And at some point, Beeple was out of that recommendation in my Instagram. So I didn't see a lot of Beeple posts anymore. I saw a lot of real life photography, a lot of Ashtorp stuff, for example, because, as you find new people, you see more new people on your feed. And that's when Beeple got more out of my recommendeds on Instagram. And that's when it really started to change, when I really got away from one single art style and saw like hundreds of different art styles. And that's where it really started to change.
That's cool. So diversifying yourself in even viewing art is very important.
Yeah, viewing, totally. Like one of my main sources of inspiration when I don't know what to do is I go to an art station, just type in a certain genre that I want to do, like sci-fi, for example, and just scroll through the feed as fast as I can, just picking up shapes and colors.
Oh,
art station is a wonderful
because that that gives you the possibility to get inspired subconsciously without without you mistakenly copy somebody.
Yeah, and it's also that it's going against the Instagram algorithm, I would say, because the algorithm fits it. So you're going to keep looking at the phone more. But ArtStation, it's going to present to you some new things, some new ideas.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's very, very, very helpful.
Yeah, that does a big difference for me. Like, it's basically just looking at thumbnails without looking at the image.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you essentially just pick up the eye-catching part of every image.
That's a really interesting way of gaining inspiration and just like intaking information, just like scrolling really fast and just seeing what you pick up from that.
Exactly.
That's really neat. It's just kind of cool to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. I fuck with that.
Me too.
That's a good way to get inspired without copying somebody.
Definitely.
Because that is also was a big problem in the beginning for me, like getting inspired, but at the same time not doing the same thing now.
Yeah,
I think it's I have maybe a different view. I think it's good to copy to a certain extent, as long as you're not, saying this is me. I made this or something.
No, yeah, totally. I fully agree with that as well. I think copying somebody can be a very good way to learn because you actually have a reference to look at.
Yeah,
totally.
Like, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a very good way to learn. It's just at some point in the career, you should get away from
absolutely.
it more.
Yes.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
So something that we kind of skipped over a little bit that I want to talk about. I want to talk about DJ Fabian, okay? Because you were, you mentioned, I was producing music and then I got into, Cinema 4D, but you did that a lot. Is that what you wanted to do, like, for a living?
Yeah.
Okay. So talk a little bit about your production history.
So that was, like I said, that was the first ever creative thing I did. Like, before that, it was just playing video games and, doing nothing productive at all. And then I got introduced to Skrillex.
Nice. Like everyone does.
Incredible, like one of my favorite musicians to date. And I was like, okay, the same thing with people. It was basically, okay, how do I do this, what he does?
Yeah.
So I was getting myself a copy of Fruity Loops and started trying stuff out. And I obviously wanted to go from level 0 to God level dubstep, which didn't work out. But yeah, that also, like, I started, finding my own kind of style, which like was a huge variety of stuff. I did EDM, I did dubstep, I did boom bap, I did hip hop, I did like Boards of Canada kind of stuff. And then,
that seems so fun to explore.
Yeah, like I tried everything out. And right now I still do produce music a little bit, but more for fun. And like right now I'm super into this like 90s boom bap hip hop, jazzy hip hop with like some synth stuff in it. It's cool. It's something cool. Like it already exists, but I like listening to it. So I try to.
Do you post any of that stuff? Because I want to listen.
Not frequently. Like I think the last thing I've uploaded onto SoundCloud was like 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay.
The SoundCloud.
So something really cool that you just said was like, I just kind of do it for fun now. So I saw that kind of like first transition because I scrolled through all of your YouTube videos as well. And I saw it was just like Dead Mouse remix, Ports of Canada remix. Yeah. And it was just like all of these music production stuff 5, 4, 3 years ago. And then there was this one video that really caught my eye. It was like, Cinema 4D, here's what I do on the side every day. And so now that was like 3 years ago or something like that. And then you started doing your dailies. And now obviously you're here with 60,000 followers because of what you did on the side. Yeah. And so now your main kind of thing, music production, is now kind of your side thing. Like, what is that like for you? Like how, just explain that to me.
It's kind of weird, but it kind of feels natural too, because I've quickly figured out that I will not make a living with music.
Gotcha.
Simply because I wasn't good enough. It's just my remakes were sort of good, I think, because I had a reference to listen to in that case. So I knew what it had to sound like to sound good. So I just had to, kind of recreate it.
Yeah.
But my own stuff, I never knew how to master, how to mix that stuff. So that's why my own stuff didn't sound that good. And then once I touched Cinema 4D, especially then later with Octane, I figured, okay, wait a minute, but I understand this now. Like I understand how to use this. I can make something out of this. And by making something out of this, I don't mean like making a living, but more like making stuff that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
That's more the thing. Like
Totally.
I was actually happy with most of the artworks that I created once I got Octane. It was not just, it's kind of cool, but it sucks. It was really like, I was like, hey, this actually looks cool. Like, and it's kept getting better. Obviously I have images that I'm not proud of as well, but Cinema 4D and Octane kind of gave me that feeling of, you know, that self kind of shoulder tap.
Yeah.
Which music didn't give me.
Yeah. It's good. And it's really, really good to get that. And especially as a person who has ambition, when, you know, when you're creating a bunch of stuff, you got to look at it like, you know, building blocks. And even though if you're not like, you know, it's not my proudest brick that I'm putting on the wall, it's still a brick that I did. It's still me pushing the needle. And I'm stoked to always see that process, and I think everybody is too, especially your community.
Yeah,
that's beautifully said. Yeah, that brings it spot on. Yeah,
yeah.
I have a question. What was that? The Skrillex song that reeled you in? What was it? Do you remember?
Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites.
Classic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Total classic.
Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites, and later on, obviously the classic like Bangarang and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy, like, my favorite music from him is his like this underground drum and bass stuff that he did later on. That was what hooked me really onto his music, because I'm a huge like neurofunk listener.
Yeah.
I love that stuff, neurofunk and like hard drum and bass.
Yes.
Sometimes. And yeah, that's where I found like a lot of similarities with like Skrillex, Pendulum, and those kind of music.
That's wild. I see why the cyberpunk that's kind of you gravitated towards that, because like I'm like, especially with the recent cyberpunk 2077 recently came out, and I'm sure you've seen RTJ's music video with, you know, all the cool, and they have like the bass and the kick and you know the BPMs like raising.
That was awesome.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's all coming together right now.
There's something very satisfying about that type of music for some reason. Like I was super into dubstep, like whenever Skrillex was like,
wasn't?
Yeah, like Bangarang was like number one on the radio or whatever. And like 2012, 2013, and I was like, this, like, I feel like this shouldn't make me feel as good as it does, because
right
it's like
true, yeah.
It's, and like I let my grandpa listen to it. I was like, this is gonna give him a heart attack. But he was just like bobbing his head. He was like, this sounds awful. And he's just bobbing his head the whole time. I was like, no,
it's kind of good.
Yeah, but he liked it. There's something about like heavy bass and heavy like kick and just rhythm that everybody can get into, no matter what you like.
It hits in the soul.
Yeah.
Like,
it does.
I remember. I'm definitely blanking out. I think Alta was the music artist, but they made a music video about deaf people, and because music, everybody reacts to music and the feeling, and I think the reason that like, and Alta does, I wouldn't say dubstep, but they have solid beats. I don't know if you've heard of them, Fabian, but
what was the name?
Alta. They're called like a little lower than the Angels.
I don't think I have, no.
I'll send you the link.
I gotta look into it. Sounds interesting.
Yeah,
we'll put them in the show notes.
We'll put them in the show notes. It's they attach this vest to the kids, and like they felt the music, and it's the bass that hits, and it like, and for us who, you know, don't feel it but we hear it, it hits like a certain, I guess.
Right.
And it creates this energy in us. And so I think that's why, you know, everybody loves to move it. And that's why it's inspiring. It gets people to, it pushes people, gets people to move.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know about it. I got to look into it.
Yeah.
Sounds super cool.
Yeah, I mean, music is like literally a part of everybody. And like we have instruments attached to our bodies. We can drum on our thighs or drum on our chest, and we can all sing, whether it's good or not. Definitely not good for me, but anyone can do it. And so that's just such a cool part about creating music and music in general. But something, I know you were like super into Deadmau5, and you were doing a lot of Deadmau5 remixes and stuff.
Huge Deadmau5.
So did you hear about the collab with Deadmau5 and Mad Dog Jones? They're doing a collab.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's kind of like a a little bridge forming here with the 3D community and like animating and stuff, and like big mainstream music artists.
Yeah.
Which I think
that's super cool.
very exciting.
Definitely, yeah. I'm a huge fan of Deadmau5 again. Also, like, especially because he does so many different things. Like he's an all-around good creator. Like not even just music. Like you probably know, like he's also super good in Cinema 4D, Octane, Houdini, and that stuff.
Yeah. Whoa, Houdini?
Yeah, he does a lot of Houdini stuff. Yeah,
that's awesome. And that gasses me up.
And that's still on my list, by the way. Like I want to do something for the Cube. Like that would be super nice.
That'd be dream job.
Yeah, like David did stuff for the Cube, like at Deadmau5's house.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember going back to mograph.com. They talked to Deadmau5. He was like, do you have that render done? You have that, because he hired David to do stuff on the Cube.
Oh,
that's great. I didn't know he did Houdini though. Specialized.
No, yeah, he's like pretty much everything that has a 3D cursor. He knows how to use it.
That's crazy. Do you ever think about jumping into the Houdini beast?
I used to do it a little bit, like creating clouds and stuff for my renders, but that was just too time consuming, and my license ran out, and I didn't want to pay again. So I just didn't end up resubscribing to it, and I found a lot of resources for clouds, such as like Mitch Myers and well, no, that's actually about it, Mitch Myers. But he has a lot of them.
That's cool.
And I use those like every time I need clouds, I use his packs, because I got a pack with like 200 clouds, and that's more than enough.
Shout out to Mitch.
Shout out.
Yeah. Like his packs are really, really good. And like so different that you can use it for anything you want.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, the Houdini thing is just a little,
it's intimidating.
I can't really get into it.
It's so vast, and you have to have like a great knowledge of it. I just talked to Mark Fancher, actually. Yeah. I talked to him on Friday, and it's crazy because it's like he didn't start it. You don't start with the programs I feel like you do now, and hearing from you, it's like you're bouncing around a little bit, and you're getting the knowledge from. And this is bouncing around like over a span of years, you're obviously like focusing and getting learned, but it's like, you have all these like little skills, and they just kind of like build you up to the main event.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's pretty. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I always say, like it's even, I think that also applies to many other things. I think if you're very good at some things, you can get away with not being good at others very easily. And for me, for example, that is, I suck at Houdini. I suck at making BDBs. So I buy my BDBs and nobody cares.
Yeah.
And my image then after that still looks good.
Yeah, totally.
And you're also supporting another artist.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
What a
It's all a big cycle. So
yeah.
Speaking of that, I want to briefly touch on some of like the business aspect of this. So you do this as a career, right? You don't have any other type of job?
Well, I do. Yeah. I do this on like, I have, so to say, 2 part-time jobs. Like my one part-time job is in the summer, I work at my family's apartment hotel.
Oh, nice.
Which is, one part-time, and the other part-time, like I work there for 5 hours or like 4.5 hours a day. And when I come home, I have another 4 to 5 hours to spend on 3D.
Okay.
So I do both these things at the same time.
Nice.
And it's a relieving thing because like I have a fixed income at the hotel, so I don't have to worry about that. And at the same time, I do 3D, but I don't depend on it. So I can choose my clients and have fun. So I don't because I used to work at a movie studio, for example. Incredible people, incredible work, super nice stuff. Got to work on an incredible movie called Ready Player One.
Oh.
And
wait, what?
And yeah, I was a VFX intern for a studio who worked on that movie.
Holy crap.
That's so cool.
How did I not know that?
And Not many do know because I don't talk a lot about the VFX stuff for some reason. But
Yeah, for some reason.
I hated the thing is I hated that job, and not because the job was so shit. It was more I came home after an 8-hour to 10-hour shift, and I was like, I still have to do it every day, but dude, like I can't see Cinema 4D anymore. I would just want to go up and watch TV.
Yeah.
And it almost ruined my whole passion for it. So
my
after
gosh.
8 months, I quit at that studio.
Okay. Wow. Well, that just opened a whole litany of questions now. So you interned for a studio that worked on Ready Player One, a VFX studio, which that entire movie basically was VFX. So what did you do for that?
So I worked on 2 shots, from which only one was used in a movie. It was one shot with a couple of trees. Like it was basically that scene where the DeLorean like goes around in circles on that pavilion at the end of the race. That one was just a bunch of changing leaf shaders in Nuke, and the one shot that was in it is basically the main character. I forgot the name. The main character sitting in his bedroom, and there was a green pillow, which they wanted to have blue. And that's what I did.
Hey. Wait. You just dropped in. You work with Nuke too? Oh my, what?
Yeah, you're dropping bombs on us right now, Fabian.
Goodness, dude.
You're like, yeah, I work on Ready Player One, I play Nuke, and I do Houdini.
So that was the thing. The nuke thing was something that we had to learn for the studio for that specific work. So we were like, my partner was my coworker was using Fusion.
Oh, okay.
And at that time, I only knew After Effects. So they said, for this movie, for these scenes, we need to learn Nuke. So our boss set us up a 2-week full course for Nuke for like 9 hours a day. So we had we learned everything for Nuke in like 2 weeks. Which was super exhausting, but it was very helpful, especially for like Octane, because through Nuke I kind of understood nodes.
Absolutely, yeah, because Nuke doesn't allow you to take the easy way out of.
Nope, not at all.
It's all about masks.
Oh my gosh!
But it's actually not super difficult to use. It's more annoying that there are no plugins and presets. That's more the annoying part, but it gives you a lot of more freedom, of course. But Nuke is not hard to use, I think. It's very easy to learn if you generally know how nodes work.
Okay, we're quoting you on that, Fabian. Yeah. 2021, Nuke is not really that hard.
No, it is. I honestly think it's not.
That's encouraging.
I honestly think some things are actually easier in Nuke than they are in After Effects.
Ooh.
Some things, not a lot, but some.
Like what?
I think masking and keyframing is a lot easier in Nuke.
Really, keyframing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And noise. What is it called in English? Noise. Creating the same noise profile in 2 separate images. I don't know what it's called in English. It's basically when you have a real video with certain noise and you have a CGI video with no noise. How do you
blending?
Create the same noise? Sorry?
Is it blending?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you blend and duplicate noise? That in Nuke that's very easy.
Sick. Oh, dude.
How did you get How did you get involved with this studio?
Yeah.
Did you really just search around the internet? Did somebody recommend you?
No, that's also a stupid story. I was looking I was going to a business. Business? What is it called? And I don't know the English word for it. Somebody who tells you what you can do with your skills, basically.
Oh, like a aptitudes kind of.
Yeah, so basically I told them, I do 3D stuff, no. What could I do with this here? How can I use this? How can I make money of it? And they said they don't know.
Nice.
Because 3D is not existent here. But they said, actually upstairs, like one level above our office, there is a studio that does movies. If you want to go up now, I think they could help you out. So I went upstairs to the studio and told them, look, I do this and that. What do you think? And they were like, oh yeah, we that. That's pretty cool. We were looking for someone who does 3D in general. So I was okay, cool. What now? And they were like, you know what? This month we're full, but come in next month and we'll do an internship. and that's how I got into
Dude,
it.
Oh, that's really cool.
and
Yeah.
that's so crazy. Literally last episode we were talking about Ready Player One.
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were. Yeah.
And like, dude, what is happening? I mean,
What's up?
And you're the second person that has told us. We talked with a guy named Miran who has worked on some movies. He lives in where? Croatia?
Croatia. Yeah, there
He
you
lives
go.
in Croatia, and Game of Thrones came to his town, and then Star Wars Episode 8 came to his town, and he was just like,
awesome.
hey, I do this, like the same thing as you, like, hey, I do this thing if I can help, blah, blah, whatever. And then they used him for these 2 huge movies. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
I want to do that. Somebody come ask me what I do.
Those are those personal contacts that are worth gold.
Oh my gosh.
That's like, I think even if with my reach, personal contacts make a huge difference at anything. Like, for example, the like Kit Bash 3D, for example, which I used for a long time. Got to meet Mike Golden.
Oh wow!
In Vienna, in Vienna last year at the D2.
That's so cool.
Which where I was for the render battle, and super nice. He actually said he was like a fan of my work too, and like we hung out for the evening and like talked to one another. And what that got me was basically a short time sponsorship from Kitbash, so I could create artwork without like spending millions on models. So
oh my gosh.
and see, something like that would have never happened if I wouldn't have met him in person.
Yeah.
Like on a Discord call or on DM, something like that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's so wild. And even though like your experience, at the studio wasn't your passion, you didn't thrive on it. You still put yourself out there. You tried something out, and you learned from it. And that's it's like a whole part of life.
Totally happy to have made that experience.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, but it's still a good experience.
Exactly. You can check that off the list of like something I've done.
Yeah. That's
and
insane.
move it on to the next.
Right.
That's a huge movie. I'm blown away that you just like said that in passing.
Matthew's stoked right now.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
flabbergasted.
the only thing that upsets me is a little bit, since we were a daughter studio, like a studio of a studio, and I was the intern of that studio of the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is not in the credits, but the studio is in the credits.
Well,
yourself
So
up.
that was the thing. Like I went to the movies with my friends, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, dude, look, my name, and then it didn't come up. I was like, what the fuck?
oh man. Okay, that does kind of suck. But from now on, we're gonna credit you. Anytime I talk about Ready Player One with anybody, I'm gonna be like,
I appreciate that.
Fabian Oberhammer.
Yeah.
He was up in that. Do you remember the blue pillow? Do you remember the blue pillow? I'm gonna ask everybody that.
That blue pillow. That blue pillow
that was
used
a
to be green.
great looking blue pillow. Wow. Okay, that's great. I don't even know. Okay, so again, let's switch gears for a second. I know
Back to
that
business.
a little note of appreciation to you, by the way. I hope you noticed that I did not describe your work in the intro as like a Beeple anything, because you were like, that's how you said you kind of like started, and then you were like, know, it's not necessarily what you wanted to be known for, copying Beeple stuff. Because what I noticed most about your work, scrolling through all of it, is the cars. And so you obviously have like a real appreciation and love for cars. Is that just kind of like arbitrary, like, hey, they look cool, or do you just really, where does that passion come from?
I don't know. Like I've always, as a kid, like already, like I've always been in love with cars in general. And the thing was, I never really thought about making car renders for a long time, especially because I didn't have models. Yeah. And they are super expensive.
Yeah.
Like a good car model costs you like $200.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But at some point I found a couple of really good free models, like not even good models, but, since I didn't have the money, or I wasn't willing to pay for expensive models, I ended up downloading a little worse models and, trying to optimize them so they look good.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and that was the first couple of things that then got me a couple of client work for cars, like mostly people who wanted a 3D render of their own car.
Yeah,
and
I bet
then
that's pretty popular.
And then they basically, I just included the price for the car model that I had to buy into my commission. And that's how I ended up with all these car models now.
That is a great, just overall if we're being technical, business kind of strategy is that when you work and when you get paid, you invest that money back into yourself instead of putting it on the side. So you can make your life easier in the future. And also you just kind of build up those assets.
Yeah, because that's how you make better art.
Yeah. It sounds so menial to be like, oh, you need like just a bunch of assets and you need all these like plugins and things like that. But those help you finish the goal. And if you can do anything to help you finish the goal, then gonzo's to you.
Right. And adding to that, I think it's like a lot of people know it, but I absolutely hate modeling. So that's why I have to pay for the cars. Like I don't like it at all. Yeah. I really respect people who know how to do it and stuff. Incredible skill. I just hate it.
Dude, I totally understand.
Well, in Cinema 4D though, it's kind of, it's nice, but it's no Maya. And even Blender now has recently been like kind of upping their modeling game.
Yeah, Blender has gotten super universally good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Shout out to the Blender community.
Yeah. So what I wrote down in my notes, one of my questions was like where you draw some of your inspiration from. And I noticed one of the things on there was Rocket League. And this was before I knew that you were actually a pro Rocket League player. I'm finding out so much about you. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I've seen like Star Wars stuff, Back to the Future, like cyberpunk, very cyberpunky type of things. Mm-hmm. Do you just like see something, think it's cool, and then try to make a render of it? Or where does some of your inspiration come for your everydays?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it.
Pretty much that. Or sometimes it's also in real life. If I see, I remember I was walking through our village and I saw like a hedge with like a piece of concrete behind it, which was a house that was just being built. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, like that color combo with those lines, shit, I gotta go home.
Yes. It's cool with it. Yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's where like some of these Ivy concrete renders came from.
Wow.
Like,
because of that little hedge.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
Italy.
It wasn't even the way it looked when I looked at it. It was just more the first glance, like when you don't look at a thing, you see it in your like on the side.
Yeah, peripheral.
That look was the thing that I liked. Yeah. Like
inspiration decided to slap you in the face and be like, "Get on it,
get on."
Kind of, yeah. And it's pretty much I get inspiration almost from everywhere. Like it's just constant observation. Like I would walk or like I would drive home on the highway at a rainy night and go like, "Ooh, this reflection is nice." Like,
oh my goodness, yeah. So I relate to that. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
So do you think that everydays have kind of like fried your brain in such a way that you just look at everything and think you just like appreciate things and their beauty more?
I think so, yeah.
Because like I talk about this kind of often of like I can't even imagine creating something new every day and forcing myself to do that. I mean, I can. I don't want to. But
definitely can.
Whatever. But just like how beneficial that would be in so many aspects of life, just walking down the road and looking at things with an artist and a beauty, natural perspective. I just think that's such a great way to live life.
The biggest thing that has helped me with was figuring out natural scattering of plants. Like the way, for example, stuff is scattered on the floor, like how leaves drop, how cigarettes drop, how, I don't know, like on a big meadow, how grass and flowers are not spread evenly. It's more all grass and then a bunch of patches of flowers and then a bunch of other patches of flowers with a different seed in that sense. And observing that, like being able to observe that is something super valuable.
So you've become more observant of just things,
the beauties in life.
That reminds me. So I'm very into film and stuff like that, and I've watched a lot of videos on the writing process and how writers like write dialogue, because dialogue is like the bane of my existence personally. I mean, it's just it's so unnatural to write dialogue because that's not what we do. We speak in dialogue, and it's much easier to speak in dialogue than to come up with people.
And write it. Yeah.
And Aaron Sorkin, I don't know if you've heard of Aaron Sorkin. He's a very famous writer. But he's really known for his natural dialogue. And he said he'll just go to a Starbucks, no laptop, no phone, no coffee, no anything. And he'll just sit in there and listen. He'll listen to people talk. He'll listen to how people interact. And he'll do it for hours. And I just can't imagine, like, that's so unnatural to go into Starbucks and not do anything in there. Like, people go in there to work and drink coffee. That's it. But to just go and just listen and observe, just like you're talking about. That's kind of what reminded me of that.
I also did that. I did that once, but it worked out very well. I was up, like, I live in the middle of the mountains, right? So I went up to the mountain, to a huge meadow, like very, very big meadow. Took my drone with me and just hovered above the ground, like above that meadow for like a couple of minutes, taking a bunch of shots of that meadow, came back home and looked at them and like tried to find patterns in it. Like tried to find patterns that, you know, occur more often. And finding that patterns, what the interesting part about those patterns were that they were the same thing as noise in Octane. They were the same pattern. And that's how it came up. You know what? I could just scatter them with different noise seeds. And make it look natural.
That's so wild.
I love that.
That's like encompassing like the beauties of life and, you know, the peace and serenity that we get from just living. And then that's just incorporating it and being like, oh my goodness, I love it how like I'm looking at this, you know, this plank of wood and I'm seeing all these really cool swirls in it. It turns out, there you put like, I don't know, like a Perlin noise on it and just mess with the transformation and it looks exactly the same. So that's so cool, man. That's honestly, that's really beautiful. Like you've gotten to a point where you just look and you just observe, you take it in, you'd be like, damn, that's deep.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it works out.
Yeah, that's just such a beautiful way to live life. So
tell us more of your secrets. do you do other things like that?
I mean, like, what else?
Just to explore the beauties.
For example, speaking of reflections, that's also something I figured out. But that's more something that I observed from Octane into real life. That if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
In Octane, I always wondered, you know, okay, my street light is super bright. Why is the reflection in the puddle not as bright? That doesn't make sense. And then one night out, I figured, like, walking through the streets at rain, I was like looking at the puddle, I was looking at the light, and I was like, they are darker actually. Like they actually are darker in real life. Wow. And from that, I could tell a lot, like about Octane and how it works, because I was like, okay, so I don't have to figure out how to make that light in the puddle brighter because it would look like that in real life.
Yeah. That's the thing about Octane. I fully relate to that too, because I'm like, this doesn't look right. I want it to be different, you know. But it's unbiased. Just not how it works. Yeah, the algorithm is made to make it look like super real life. I wouldn't say it's like perfect. Octane's definitely not perfect. It definitely has its flaws, but it's pretty damn close for just a click of the button.
And that's how that's more, like I said, something that was from Octane to real life, because that took me like a few days to figure out in Octane, like, why is that puddle not as bright as the light above it? Like, I have to fix that. It doesn't look real otherwise, because I thought that's what it would look like in real life, but it doesn't. Yeah. Even though I see that almost every single day. Like,
it makes you realize things in real life that you like figured out in this render. That's so
exactly. Cool. Yeah,
I love that. That's very neat.
Learning life through 3D.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Life imitates art, right?
That's deep.
That's a very common saying, Jimmy.
It just hit me different though.
Anyway.
Cool.
Well, good. That was great. We have one. Do you have any other questions?
I do. I have a few more.
Hey, go.
What is your schedule like? I'm really interested to know how people kind of work and thrive, and especially and I know people learn this a lot from collabs of just like how people set up their scenes, but how do you set up your life? You know, do you just do you like waking up early, reading a book, and then, you know, getting on to 3D? What's a day in the life of Mr. Fabian?
So My daily schedule is the typical gamer schedule, like sleep until like 11 a.m. and then get up, and that's pretty much my schedule. I usually get up at around 11 a.m. Just get my coffee, probably like read my emails. I do that before noon, like read all my emails and my DMs and reply to everything, which usually takes up about like an hour and a half.
Very
total.
time consuming.
Yeah, and then I get lunch, come back down, maybe watch a TV show or something, start doing my everyday, which I always do around like 1 p.m. I just finished one before coming on the call.
Nice.
Quick flex.
And then let that render while I maybe have a meeting or not. And then usually around the afternoon to night, I start working on the client stuff. Because that's where I'm the most productive, in my opinion. Because
Really?
there is nothing else. Yeah, because there is nothing else to do for me.
Wow.
At that time, because there is nobody here at that time. Like my dad is usually out at work, or is asleep. Like, because he goes to sleep quite early usually. So like after 9 p.m. usually I'm alone, and from there I don't have much to do. So that's the best time for me to start working on client stuff, and I do that up until like 2 a.m., 2:30, like 2:30, and then I go to bed. That's pretty much all. That's what I do for the whole day, basically.
Nice. That's super enlightening, because all I've ever heard is like, wake up early, start the grind. But like, I mean, I don't want to say like time is a construct, but like you can manipulate your time schedules to fit.
Obviously, it doesn't work in any job, but
exactly,
to some certain extent, you can really manipulate it to whatever fits you best.
Yeah, you're working for yourself, so you can flex it however you want to.
Yeah. And I mean, deadlines have to be like, if I have a deadline the next day, I usually don't finish it at midnight that day.
Yeah.
Like it's more a couple of days earlier, and then there is more time for like changes and stuff. And but mainly I just sit here in front of my PC the whole time. I have a lot of free time. I gotta say, like, I'm not super busy with, like, I don't have to do like, I have time to go out with friends if I want to. I have time to get a coffee. I have time to play some games and stuff.
Important.
And me and my friends, for example, like New4A Design, for example, Omen, Mike Golden, we have a private Discord server, like, where we just when we're down to talk while working, we just go into the live chat and like into the voice chat, and whoever joins. It's pretty much like that. Often I just hang out in there by my own, for example, or I see somebody who's already in there by himself. I just join in, and then we just chat for like hours while working on client stuff, for example.
Chilling.
That's just a neat. It's such a nice community. It's just nice, Gives me a nice feeling. So
exactly.
So I want to talk about a little bit of collabs, I guess, because that's a very prevalent thing in this sphere, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And something that I noticed was the quarantine stuff on your Instagram.
Quarantine.
Dude, that was awesome. Like,
I really enjoyed that idea.
How many people were involved with that? Was it like 15 or
20? I think the most we've got was like 52.
Oh, okay. So I was way off.
If I remember correctly, like I'm not the guy who is responsible for it. It's Digital Ridge, or Phil Bollins, who came up with the concept for it.
Shout out to him, dude.
Shout out to Phil.
So basically it was like this fixed animated model that was walking through these different scenes, just to explain it to the listeners. And everyone was putting their own touch on this like one room, basically, that this model would walk through. I don't know if you saw it, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And dude, it was fascinating. But it was
a cool idea.
It was affected by people obviously in quarantine. That's kind of where the name came from, quarantine. Yeah. But this virus, like, locking everybody in, and kind of being socially distanced is the thing that everybody coined, of staying away from each other. But it seems very important for the art community to do more things together during this time. Yeah. And that's definitely what I've seen from it. So were you reached out to be a part of that, or did you reach out, or how did that work?
No, so I've known Phil for forever, ever since I started doing 3D, pretty much. I think when I met him, I was still using Blender. We both switched to Cinema 4D around at the same time. And so he came up with that concept and asked me, do you think you could share that stuff on your story to like get a lot of people into it? And I'm like, sure, it's a super cool idea. So we started working on it, and he set up the preset, like the Cinema 4D file with basically with the blank setup of the camera and the room. And he was like, put whatever you want into it, render it out, and send it to me. And that's what everybody did. And he just comped them together then, and we posted it all together.
Yeah, that was very unique.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
I love it when artists collab together, like especially something like that where it's not like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's not like, it doesn't all have to be one composition. It's like every single room can be completely and utterly different. So everyone puts their own very unique and very personal touch on each thing, but it's all still in one video. And you get to see all of these 52 artists or however many take on one blank slate. Very cool idea.
I remember, I don't know if you saw it, Fabian, but Ben Marriott, I think that's how you say his last name. Have you heard of him? He's a
I've heard the name. Yeah, I don't have it in mind right now the work he does, but I know the name. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna send you a link because he has he practically the same thing, and I think it happened in quarantine where he got like a bunch of After Effects artists and combined their different styles, and he made it about the way people speak. And the reason that it is, I would say, very pinnacle in a community of artists is that, you know, sometimes we can get caught up in our own heads, right? And we can be very closed off to people, and especially in quarantine, that's not good for mental health. I mean, you know, it's not good to not talk to anybody. So bringing that open and allowing yourself and I guess getting people together really just, it makes you feel like you're part of something a little bit bigger. And that's a really nice feeling. Do you have any other experiences with just kind of opening up the bridges for people? Like as in your Discord server or the Twitch streams that you do.
Yeah. So basically what I think, like, I noticed that a lot of people are scared, or not even scared, but, you know, to, for example, DM me about tips or show me artwork or something like that, because they just simply think, okay, he's not going to reply anyways. Which I think is true for most people with this kind of reach, but I pretty much reply to I would say 99% of DMs.
What a man.
And and that's when I had the idea, you know, let's do a Discord server and put a stream art review channel in there where I pretty much review people's artworks in the beginning of my streams every time, which always takes up like 1 to 1.5 hours. Yeah, I gotta say the original idea was I came up with that from Euphoria Design because he did it first.
Okay.
And I was like, I found that was a really good idea to, you know, critique people's artworks, help them to grow, and at the same time get shout outs through my Twitch without me having to DM 200 messages every day. Like that was a super good idea by Euphoria for sure. And it's very, like, people love it in the stream.
No, they do. I remember one of my first times I saw that.
Yeah. And you know, that's also where I saw a lot of people connect to other artists, like, you know, people in my Discord just asking questions, and then people go like, you know what, I know how to solve this. Give me a call on Discord and I'll help you out.
Oh, wow.
And that, seeing that is super cool.
Yeah.
Like, that people are willing to help each other out that much. And then I also saw those people then collab on Everydays later on, for example. Like,
yeah, it's just, you're creating a culture of helpfulness, and you're allowing for
camaraderie.
Yeah, you're allowing for camaraderie and people to be able to collaborate and work together and help each other, and that is invaluable to so many people. So shout out to you, Fabian.
It's
shout out to you, because that's huge. He's
the gate. I see this. I'm imagining this. Okay, everybody's listening. Just imagine this. There's a big gate. Okay, here's Mr. Dizzy Viper, and he has his staff. He's in the rows, and he's like come children, let's enter the gates. He's opening the door and there's a flood in, and it's just information, and it's a fenced in community. There's a bunch of little houses in there, and he's like, guys, I got you. Okay. This is a safe place where everybody can come chill, come learn about some 3D. And you're the gatekeeper.
The gatekeeper. The gatekeeper of the good vibes.
The gatekeeper of the good vibes.
But in all, like, still, I think, like, overall, pretty much every big content creator in this industry is, like, so helpful.
Totally,
overall.
yeah.
They're just a little hard to reach, I think, normally, but super nice overall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I love about it. It's very, very unique, and I love it a lot.
Yeah,
sure,
right.
Totally. And like, you know, making friends in this industry can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Because, for example, like my client job for Excision, I didn't get that from Excision. I got that from a friend who knows the production team, and also the work for McLaren. I got those through somebody who knows the marketing manager from McLaren. It's not something that makes just such a big difference if you know people.
You're killing
Fabian,
Matthew.
did you just say
You're
that you worked for McLaren?
Yeah, it's on my art station.
He's dying right now.
If you were there already, I have another big one. I am working for Maserati.
Nice,
dude.
Oh, that's wild.
I love that for you. I'm not jealous. I'm so happy for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, making friends in the industry is 90% of getting good clients, because
it's funny that you would say
that.
And
that's also what I like to do a lot. Like, if I know, for example, a good 3D guy and I get a client that I don't want to take, I usually just send them over to those guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's always just, you know, we look at it as a pile of work in a bucket, and everybody just throws in everything, and, you know, they pick out what they want, and that way you get a huge variety of jobs and clients that you're happy with.
Yeah, and everybody loves to do it because it's so freaking fun. It's like the best job in the world. Creating things, making them move, making them look super cool.
Yeah, giving somebody what they want.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just very great. It's just
that's
gratifying.
the thing. Like, for example, if one of my friends gets a job from, I don't know, Lamborghini, let's say, and they don't know how to do car renders, they send the client to me, and vice versa. So if somebody comes to me and says, I want a smoke simulation, I don't know how to do that, so I send it to a guy I know who knows how to work with smoke, and that way, like, everybody gets what they want, more or less.
This reminds me of we had Euphoria on, and Alexi was talking about Young Gravy, the album cover he did with Young Gravy, and he's like, I don't know how to model his face or just kind of manipulate it, like, after taking 3D scans, and so he passed it over to one of his buddies, and then you know, they got a cut on the action. So
exactly,
oh, dude, that just fills my stoke tank up.
And it's we did not pay you to say that, by the way, Fabian, because our tagline for this whole podcast is, we're not networking, we're making friends. That's where the whole thing comes from, and it is networking, but it's more personal than that, because Jimmy's my friend, and
Dude,
everyone that comes, what's up, bro? This is my guy, and you're making friends with people. And you can give your work, or you can give some client to them, and it's just important to foster relationships with people other than just being able to make money from them. It's important to foster those relationships because they're people, and you appreciate their work and you like what they do. So I love that you said that.
Yeah, and I think especially in the beginning, it's super difficult to get clients. Like, that is probably one of the hardest things ever. And you know, if you have 100 followers, it's hard to get clients. It's already a lot easier if you have 1,000, for example. And also, people who have like 100 to 1,000 followers, they help each other out already as well, and very, very well. Like, that's, and you know, that's the thing about the community, that it's so cool to see.
Yeah,
because if it was a different community, like, don't quote me on it, but I would say they would just go, you know, I don't want to take that client, but I'm not giving it to you because you're a concurrent, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like, and that's not true. Like,
for sure. It's crazy you say that. It's because like being nice has a better ROI than being mean. And it's like with other industries, like they haven't gotten it or it's not set up to serve a better goal. But I remember when I was like serving at a restaurant, it's like all the other servers, you know, they wanted the more tables so they could get a bigger tip. But what they didn't realize is that if everybody was helping each other out, you know, maybe somebody didn't have a table, so they helped somebody fill somebody else's drinks, then that means, you know, their buddy would get a tip in return. And I feel like if there's a system set up where everybody's gassing each other up, then it just becomes a more enjoyable environment.
Yeah, totally. Fully agree with that. Yeah. I think it's also overall, I think the general 3D community is also mentally much more mature than other communities.
Yeah, and that's because of the resilience they need. It's not their work is not prized. Like we were talking about before, people just think it's a click of the button, but it's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot more depth to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, my coworker at the hotel is like that, super close-minded. Basically, I'm not working in that sense.
Just playing.
You know,
just cruising.
Not at all. Boy, is he mistaken.
It's a learning process, though. Like I've learned that with people too. Is that like I would say recently, but like, you know, past 4 or 5 years, it's like, you know, not 4 or 5, like 3 years. I got out of high school. 3 years ago, I got out of high school, and it's like, you know, once you open yourself to the experiences and try to, you know, new things, you're going to learn more. And if you close yourself off, then, you know, like you said, you're kind of going to be closed-minded. It takes that, I'd say, risk to go out, try new things, and learn a bit more, because then you empathize with other people more. And then you're just getting better as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I also think in general, if people have good experiences with, you know, asking for information or asking for help or stuff, and they get it, they won't be as scared and as you know, thinking bad of themselves for not knowing how to do it by themselves, because they know there is somebody they can ask if there is a problem. And if he doesn't answer, for example, it's probably not because he's an asshole, but simply because it doesn't have time or something.
A little bit too busy.
It's all a completely different, you know, a completely different atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I could not just, that's spot on. That is on point, dude. Asking questions is important, and getting that feedback.
Asking questions is something good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has anybody ever told you or you shouldn't ask questions, or stop asking questions, or like have you ever had anybody say that?
I have never, like, if somebody, like, if I know somebody who said asking questions is bad, or if somebody has been super annoying and I said stop asking questions.
Mm-hmm. If somebody said it to you, like,
there is one particular guy who does that all the time, and I've mentioned it on stream a lot, but I'm not gonna call him out, but I think a lot of people now know who I mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can tell you guys after the podcast for sure.
But,
no
sure.
Slander here. No slander.
And that's great. Go ahead.
But for me personal, like I've never told somebody stop asking questions, like, because I'm a super patient guy. But I gotta be honest, there have been some questions that are just, you know, in my opinion, you know, when you really notice that guy is not trying.
So
for example,
that's important. That's a good tip.
Yeah, that's a thing that I also want to see. If somebody asks me questions, I have no issue with answering it and stuff. But if you like ask me for literally every mouse movement, then I can see that you're not even trying to learn it. You just want to know how I do it.
Yeah, yeah. And go ahead.
And I've had a couple of people, for example, asking me, how do I do window materials? I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a thing called emissive maps. You can just plug that into your emission channel. Oh, where is my emission channel? And it's in the material. How do I open the material?
Ooh.
You go to create material, and then okay, but which one do I take? Octane, Redshift? I'm like, well, which render engine do you want to use? Well, which one is better? Like, it's,
Oh, wow.
at some point I just sometimes realize they don't want to even try it out. They just want to have the exact answer, and that's the only thing they want.
Yeah. They're not looking to get better and learn. They're just looking to have that instant gratification, that product.
Again, everybody listening to the podcast, don't be afraid to ask me stuff at all. Like, but at some point, like after, I don't know, 20 of the same questions, I just gotta set the point somewhere.
Yeah,
of course.
That's so crazy you're talking about that, because I was listening to a podcast yesterday and it was the same subject. And like, it's good to ask questions, period. But there's a balance that you personally need to take, maybe to set an example, not only for yourself, but for your buddies around you, that you need to have the ownership of going out and searching out for the questions. Because I did the same when I was in ninth grade. Story time. When I was in ninth grade, there was this kid, Mikey Thompson. Shout out to Mikey. He helped me with geometry and algebra because he was this math whiz. I couldn't care less. I just needed to pass the class. So I'd ask him questions daily. And after 2 weeks, he was like, I could tell he was done. He would like look at me like, are you stupid? Like, Jimmy, like she just went over this. And I was like, please, Mikey, I need help. And he was super patient. But as a person who's grown up with people telling me I'm annoying and I ask stupid questions, I really appreciate you setting time specifically in the morning. You're taking your morning time and you're responding to people, because you do get gassed up when somebody digs, like like I said, you're the gatekeeper. You're offering the hand and you're pulling them up.
It's inspiring.
That's, for example, something I would never like. No matter how annoying a guy gets for asking, I would never tell him like it's a stupid question or like you're annoying or something. It's just something that I think, they're also just trying to learn. But I always try to tell them, look, try it out yourself and see how far you get and stuff like that.
That's great.
That's also the same with like, I every now and then I give online coaching for some more advanced Octane stuff, like sort of like private lessons. And I have had someone, with like a crazy setup, like he had like 4 3080s and like I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing, this guy knows what he wants. This guy, let's do online coaching. The first thing he asked me is, how do I activate Octane render? The first guy, like, how do I render something? I'm like, dude, like this is basic stuff. Like I can't tell you how to do that, of course, but that's a waste of money for you on that. Like, because that's what you can find anywhere. And I think like, that's not what I'm here for. Like, I'm not here to teach,
basics.
How to press the Octane render button and see what you do. And then getting asked why it doesn't look like my images if you set a cube with a white area light into it,
Yeah. Sometimes jumping in the manual and exploring will help you a little bit, just finding out.
Yeah, playing around.
Yeah,
literally just move through the menus for anything, not just Octane. That's
the thing, like you said, like it's the important thing is the balance between asking questions and trying. That's perfect. That's the point where I don't have any issues with asking questions.
And I think it's a really good point that as a leader of a community, because I think that's what you represent, because you do have people like looking up to you, is that you're like, fuck it, I'm not gonna care that this question might be a little lame right now. It might be doesn't have any meat on its bones, but you're still answering that, or you're not answering, but you're guiding that, you're guiding, you're creating questions for them, not questions, but you're saying, why don't you figure out? Why don't you play around with it, see what you come up with, and then come back later? And that's super important. And oh my goodness, it's all connecting. The snaps in my brain, because you said before, when you do tutorials and stuff, you want to build the foundation of the creative mindset. You don't just want to say a step-by-step rule.
Yeah,
nice,
exactly.
Man.
That's pretty much like. Again, like if somebody asks a question, I'm gonna tell them the answer to it, and then if it gets like too detailed, where I notice, okay, you should be able to figure that out by yourself by just sitting down for a couple of like maybe an hour maximum and just trying it out. Then after that, like I gave you the directions you need, And after that, when you come back, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for that. And most of the time, people were like, you were right. Like, I got how I figured it out now. Like, and I'm 100% sure that sticks into their minds much longer than if I just would have told them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. People are smart.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
The important thing about patience when you're like training someone or helping teach somebody something is that patience is literally just understanding. And understanding comes from recognizing that you were once in that place yourself and remembering what that feeling was like of like, oh, I feel like an idiot. I don't even know how to do this thing. Yeah. And it really kind of does take a lot of courage to ask a question like that you may think is stupid to someone that you do look up to. And so recognizing that you were once in that place, they are actually trying to learn. If you do kind of realize that they are actually trying to learn, understanding that you were once in that place and that's where they're at will help a lot in your patience.
And it's a great, easy balance to say, like what you're talking about, Fabian, is that, creating those guidelines of like, why don't you, I'm going to give you this little tidbit. Why don't you go play around with it? Why don't you explore? You're going to need to read this, and just kind of letting them go and run off. That's a good way just to balance of saying, I don't want to answer, but just not I'm not explaining that right. Not giving them the key. You're giving them a map to the key so they can unlock the door themselves.
I mean, sometimes I do give them the key, of course, but in some topics, like some questions, I can't name them right now because I don't have them in my head, but there are some questions where I just realize, okay, this is really something that works out better if you try it yourself.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
For example, car paint shaders. That's something that I can't even explain. Like, and I just basically what the guideline I give them then is how a car paint is built up in real life. Like, paint, shader, flakes, coating and stuff. And when they know that, they know roughly how to set it up in a node editor, just like that. And it works out.
You just explained car paint shaders. Now I know how to do it because you just explained to me now it's like a layer system. Yeah. And that's so cool. Just those simple words. I'm going off.
And the layer system is almost applicable 1-to-1 into the node editor. Yeah.
Sick.
I feel like I've learned a plethora about you today, Fabian.
I'm ready for my day. I'm ready to attack the day right now.
Yeah, it's early for us right now, so we're just getting started, dude. We are just getting started. We do have a little segment that we like to do.
So violent.
I know, I didn't mean to slam on the table. I don't know if anybody heard that, but my bad. I got excited. We have a segment called Explain That Tweet. So I went to the very, very bottom of your personal Twitter. Okay. Yeah. And we're talking yet? We're talking about March of 2014. So nearly
that's long ago.
7 years ago. So something that I noticed, and this is your personal Twitter. I don't know if you have this isn't Dizzy Viper. This is Fabian Oberhammer, okay?
Oh shit!
Yeah, dude.
That's the old one. I haven't been on that ever.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. We're going
He's
back.
He's getting concerned now. Yeah. See the sweat.
Like, what is on here?
The glistening.
Something I noticed, you have 554 tweets on here. At least 80% of these are about Soul Republic. Okay. So quick question.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Okay. So did you work for them or explain?
These boys.
Hey, nice. Product placement, baby.
Rocking them.
Okay. So do you just really just love them that much?
Oh man, you guys are Nardward of 3D. Like that you found out about that?
Yeah.
We take our stalking seriously.
I found out about the company Soul Republic. It was headphones through Deadmau5 because he released a branded headphone from like pretty much fan article headphone, which was amazing. And I found out about the company making a sort of point reward system. So basically on their website, it doesn't exist anymore because I think they lost too much money with it. But
not because of you though, because you were trying.
Sort of. No. But there was a little exploit on the website, which I'm going to get into later.
Nice.
It's basically you could share certain posts from them and gain points through it. So basically, for example, for a simple tweet, you got 10 points, for example. And once you had enough points, for example, for 4,000 points, you get free headphones. And those are like expensive headphones. They cost like $150.
Yeah.
And you get them for free if you have 4,000 points.
Bet.
But there was an exploit where if you basically, instead of clicking retweet and retweet again, which doesn't work because it was limited to 5 retweets a day. If you opened up like 20 tabs of Twitter before doing this, you could do this 20 times in one day.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh.
He found the hole in the system.
So that explains it. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, that's why. And that's basically my trash Twitter, which I pretty much just opened up for this.
Yeah. Yeah, these tweets have zero interactions at all. There's no likes or anything on them.
No, nothing.
Not a single
thing. It was just to get those points.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
So here's the golden question. Did you ever get enough points to get the headphones?
I have 5 sets actually.
Oh. Wow. So you're a hacker, man. You really
I have 4 sets from the website. No, I have 6 sets. I have like these ones. These are the pro ones, which I bought.
Okay.
And then I have one other one that I bought, and the other 4 were from the website.
So when we first,
but I know that I'm not the only one who did that. Like I know that there are I've read this somewhere that you can do it this way. So I'm pretty sure that that's also why that website doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like they still produce headphones, but
right. Yeah,
it was for what you could gain out of it. It was pretty insecure. Like.
Yeah, at first when we started talking about it, I said that it was not your fault that they are out, but it is 100% your fault that they stopped doing that. 5 times.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Honestly, good for you. You're a grinder, man.
Yeah, that major props to you for finding the hole in the system, dude.
Oh man, I'm glad I asked that question. That's an amazing story.
Like this is super impressive that you guys found out about that. Like I forgot about that.
Hey. We go
Brings
deep.
joy to my heart.
We go deep on the Not Network. Well, Fabian, thank you so much for joining us. This was a fantastic time.
This was awesome.
We've learned
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Like I love the format overall. Like you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, dude. That means a lot.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, Jimmy in the feels. You got him in the heart.
Yeah, you really did. Attacking me where I really feel it. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time out of your day, and
sure.
Also. I'm so stoked that you're Italian. We got Italian Squad Part 2.
Italian Squad
up in the Not Network podcast.
Let's go.
I love the Italians.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah. Thanks again, Fabian.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it.
Oh, for sure, guys. For sure.
And please, everyone.
Oh wait, yes. Before we end this, Fabian, we'd like to give you a chance to plug whatever you're doing. Tell the world what's happening in your life, and we're going to link everything that he says in the show notes in case you miss it. So Fabian, without further ado.
So what I'm working on right now, you mean?
Yeah, or
anything you want to plug.
Find you, yeah.
Oh yeah, so basically all my Instagram, my Twitter, like it's at the Dizzy Viper on every platform, including Twitch, where I stream twice a week to 3 times a week. My process basically. Mm-hmm. Currently working on something for Maserati, so keep your eyes open on the Maserati Instagram coming up.
And if you retweet it, you get a free Maserati with 5,000 retweets.
I wish, yeah. And also a Maker's Place at the moment for crypto art, in case you are into crypto art.
Yes, we are. Sweet.
Big drop on Maker's Place coming up on February 10th.
February 10th?
February 10th. Everybody mark your calendars. Dizzy Viper.
Dude, I'm writing that down.
I'm writing it down too.
Feb 10th.
We'll be there, dude. We're ready for it. All right, great.
Yeah.
Great, everyone. We're not networking. We're making friends. Thanks for being our friend today, Fabian.
Oh, for sure, guys. Thanks for having me again. I much appreciate it.
Wasn't that just a bucket of fun? Thank you so much to Fabian for being on Not Network with us. Please let us know, guys, what you thought about the episode. You can tag us in all our social media. You know what it is. But just remember, we're not networking. We're making friends.
All the time that are cranking out content all the time that don't have the following of some of the people that we've gotten to talk to. And we have gotten to talk to some people who don't have as large of a following. But just like, it's just cool to get to talk to people who, you know, crank out the type of stuff that you do. So we're pretty pumped about it. But yeah, just a little bit about us. Jimmy, like you said, how long have you done Cinema 4D?
Like a year. Yeah. I got your it was weird because I found out your Twitch, right? And then I was commenting or I was chatting it up, okay? And then I see this other guy's name pop up and I'm like, holy crap, I think I know him. And so like I found somebody in your community that I met on Instagram, and it was a really cool, like, enlightening thing. I was like, oh my goodness, it's Glenn, it's him. And so
Glenn is everywhere, yeah. Yeah.
Do you know Glenn?
Not personally, but yeah, he's been like one of my first ever Twitch viewers.
Really?
And
nice.
He's like usually there for the whole entire stream. It's like, I really do appreciate
That's
him.
so sweet. He adores you. That's so
yeah.
cool.
And he's super young.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He does pretty good like product shots, but he's only 15. That's crazy.
15?
Uh-huh. He makes me so mad. He makes me upset because I'm 20 and he has a knowledge of like Cinema 4D and kind of like the culture, and when I was first getting on, I was like, you're 15? That's insane. That makes me want to work so much harder.
Yeah.
I feel so old compared to him.
For sure, dude. For sure.
That's funny.